Hey guys, I have a Byzantines build here. It is, I think, really strong. It's got a really good synergy of letting the passives of the Civ kind of shine without having to invest a macro directly into it. So you're investing into things that are going to be scaling you. That's going to be giving you army, and you're going to get passively getting your buffs from the Civ. So the play is a 1TC fast trade into winery and mercenaries. So the tempo is a little bit slower, but it ramps up very quickly, and it's compared to like my Mongol builds, my Mongol trade build. It actually has a net of just base resources a lot more, and then if you add olive oil additionally, it blows Mongol out of the water. So the economy behind the Byzantines is really strong, really stout, and it allows it to scale from the initial points of trade, which trade boom is strong, but it kind of stalls out around 20 minutes because now all of a sudden you're trading a lot of your gold for other resources, so you're kind of suffering in that sense. But with this build, you're going to be able to commit a lot of this gold that, besides trading it and stuff, you're going to be able to commit a lot of the gold into olive oil, into mercenaries, and that's going to really help your army keep a lot of tempo. Just a quick breakdown of the build. It's 8-2 opening build order, and then 5 onto wood, then 1 villager onto market, 1 villager onto wood. But the villager you send to market and the following villager onto wood can be interchanged. It can be a villager onto wood and then a villager to market, depending on the spawn, and we'll go into that during the build. And then 2 villagers to gold, 3 villagers to food, and try to get from there all of your villagers to wood until you're about to like 14, 15 villagers on wood, and you can start really producing a lot of production buildings and whatnot. And then from there, I'm usually transitioning all my villagers onto wood for pretty much the rest of the game. So we're going to age up with the winery, and we're going to rush. Once we're aged up with the winery, we're going to rush Broadaxe and pull our initial sheep to the winery. So there isn't it's not super complicated, but once you're going to have 3 production buildings by like 6 minutes. So the production, keeping tabs of your production, does start to get a little bit intensive. So we're going to go ahead and play it real quick. Hopefully we do okay. We're just off of work and a little bit rusty, but we'll see if we can give it a go and have it come out pretty tight to what it's supposed to be played like. So here you go. Drop our cistern. Try to split your TC into quadrants. We'll go over that maybe a little bit later. Have that villager shift queue onto a house and a market, or a mining camp rather, and make sure that your scout is scouting away. First villager gets rallied onto gold, onto the mining camp. We have a mercenary royal knight camp and a mercenary horse archer. This is like the first time I've gotten this trade post. Like I've done this this build order like 20 times. And I haven't. This is the first time I've gotten the Royal Knight, so that's actually a really strong camp to have. So that's actually going to give us a little interesting option here in this game. So we'll look into that a little bit later. Let's finish scouting over here. One thing that I was saying earlier: try splitting. Always put your first cistern 100% under the wood. Wherever your wood line is, your cistern needs to go there. And then this corner of this building aura, I'm trying to split my TC into quadrants. So I'm eating 2 tiles, 2 tiles, and my next one's going to eat 2 tiles, 2 tiles. My next one 2 tiles, 2 tiles. So we're trying to eat this TC's area with into quadrants, and that's it helps to keep your aqueduct distance cheap, and it also keeps the cost like down for the aqueducts, but it also helps like if you set this way out here and you set another one in a weird spot, you're suddenly like really limited in what you can do with your next like cistern, where you can place it. So it is actually really important to have a pretty good cistern placement. I really like this quadrant system. There's definitely different ways to do it as well. Some people do triangle, etc. So At this point in the build, we're looking to get 5 villagers onto wood. We've got 2 right now. We built a lumber camp immediately. It's in different iterations of this build, we were doing the straggler trees. It's just, in general, more micro and doesn't really serve a purpose. You got the wood, so might as well do it. Keep your TC going. We just went idle a little bit. That's a little bit of a mistake. And I like to place my winery 4 tiles away from my TC. That way I can fit a row of farms on both sides and get them both buffed. Really make sure you try to get the most optimization out of it as possible. And now we're going to go into the market positions. Our market here is close to our TC, and our position of our market is going to be far. So that means we need to put our villager that's going to go to market before we go up to 6 on wood. And if this market was different, if this market was far and our walking distance was short, we would actually send our next villager just to wood directly instead of walking out here. And then our next villager we would send across the map. So that's a variation in the build that can happen, and but those 2 villagers are interchangeable, and that's the only real variation of that build. While this is happening, drop a house on your gold. Make sure you stay on top of that. You don't want to get housed. It's better to do it early too. Now our villager is walking up to the market, and we're going to rally another villager onto wood. Let's see what this camp is like. Mangadai and Desert Raider. So we got the better of the 2 markets here for sure. We got a villager onto wood now. That's 6 on wood. And so we're going to go 2 villagers onto gold, and then 3 villagers onto food. These villagers here, we're going to control group as well. It's a good idea to do it because it's just gonna make the macro involved behind all of this a lot easier. And make sure this building stays nice and busy. And you can see we're up to 72 stone now. We haven't invested anything into stone, and we have a decent macro involved behind this, right? One of these villagers is going to drop this wood off, and then I want him to build me a barracks. This building can change. It's kind of interchangeable. We've gone up to 4 on gold. Now we're going to rally 3 villagers onto food here. And then once this... actually, keep this villager on the wood. Pull a food villager to do this. Once that market finishes, suddenly we have enough... stone for our next level of cistern, so that's a pretty big deal. And we're just gonna keep rallying villagers. We're gonna rally our guys over here. You'd be scouting your opponent's base at this time as well. Build a Limitani. 5 minutes in, so that's a decent time. And then you can see we've got up to 30 stone now. We're gonna build this and go into food. We're at 9 villagers on food. This is our 10th, so we're gonna build 1 more. And we need to grab another villager and drop our mercenary house. So now any subsequent gold needs to be used in our trade, and any wood needs to be used in our trade at this point. From this point on. Okay, let's just kill this guy real quick. Okay, that's gone. We'll switch this over to Conscriptio. Let's get the mercenary house upgrade. And you're going back onto wood. One of these villagers. Let's get this market going. Get that over here. We'll go for Keshik. Let's just go for javelin throwers. So there's a lot to be said still in terms of what is possible for the what I want to say here, like in terms of like the feudal composition. So I guess we'll get into that more later because I don't want to fuck the build up while I play. I can't like talk and walk at the same time apparently. So we've gone up. Javelin throws are 480. They're a little bit pricey, but our winery's gonna be providing that pretty handily. We won't go up to 2 trades. We'll just go up to 1. That's okay. And then just make sure your villager stays busy here on gold, and then send them down over here. to one of your trade sites to make sure you stay like pseudo protected on that. And now you just kind of have to keep tabs on like your production buildings, right? This is going to be soon online, and if we went like Eastern Wing, we would have our Keshiks out already. We're getting really good trade behind this. Keep our market going. Keep our barracks going. And there we go. We finally got our mercenaries out at 7:30. A little bit later than I would like, but just is what it is. And this army has to hold. There's a lot to be said with the feudal colonies. If you go horseman, you can get aggro in. So there's definitely like a lot of options that can be done here. So one thing you can do is you can start walling here. See, we've got the wood to do it. So we're in like a kind of comfortable spot to do this. And like we still have plenty of wood for like our traders and stuff. We can build these guys. What are these, men at arms? Okay, that's not good. Let's come over here. Get these guys tight. As we get more traders, we need less villagers on gold. We get these villagers to build something on gold, and then I'd like to place them elsewhere. We can also build a market over here. I don't like building a market up front, but like it's just kind of the layout of our base here. But we can always drop it in the back here. Eventually, we're gonna have something here, so we'll do this here like this. We don't have this up yet, and we got our first traders up, and we're in a good spot there. And at this point, this is when you really need to start like going on to your secondary infrastructure building in terms of military, so you can do that. And we're up to a lot of villagers on. Oh, I never pulled my villagers to. No wonder my okay. So this is just a thing with my build order that I just did wrong, right? So I didn't pull my village. I had my villagers queued, my control group here, and to pull these villagers onto berries, and I never did. So that really like affects my build like significantly. So a little bit unfortunate, but it's not in the world. And we can already get our next set of javelin throwers out pretty quick. And this villager is basically just going to be stuck building houses for a minute. We're starting to get a good amount of gold. We can pull a villager here. We can go build a tower over here. There's just a lot that you can be doing, right? In terms of eco, this villagers that are on wood, we can start dropping more infrastructure. Get a archery range out. You can get a stable out. So there's a lot of different things that can happen here. And this is just basically the build. If you do a stable opening, it's also viable. I would never recommend doing an archery range opening. I mean, I guess you can, but the macro involved is a lot more difficult. It really is kind of consuming and hard to do. And we'll just do this for the shits and giggles. We're gonna build this mercenary house real quick. I want to see how many knights and how much it costs to get these knights out. We can get archers out, and like your eco is like fully come online at this point. And honestly, you can buy some stone, and you should be transitioning to your tier 3 cistern 100% at this point. You don't want to like delay it too much more. So you're going to be dropping a lot of infrastructure, but like at the same time, you don't want to be like waiting to drop this infrastructure, right? You want it to be like on point. So just things you can do, right? You can build this cistern over here. Can we build this, please? There we go. And this guy's done. Let's build a tower. And you have just plenty of stuff to do here. So the Royal Knight is 480, 53 seconds, and it's only 2 of them. But that's not bad at all. So that's basically where this build order video is going to end. Like, we're not really going to do anything. I don't know why the AI hardest hasn't attacked yet, but it hasn't. So, but yeah, you're just trying to get a really good income at this point. And you're sustaining this one mercenary house, but at this point we've already switched up to 2, right? And you're getting to the point where you're gonna switch up to even more than that. So definitely some things. And one bad thing is like you're floating a lot of like gold at this point, and that's just kind of like part of it. But like oh boy. like it's AI hard, so it's not really like an issue here, but like you can transition into your farms whenever you want. You're gonna have plenty of resources to that, so it's really strong. You have floating a lot of gold. Pull these villagers off of gold and start building infrastructure with them. But like that's basically like the build, and we're just gonna go over it in a different like with a little bit more in depth. It's hard to play and like talk. Like we're at least for me, it's hard to play and talk. I'm not very good at it. But that's basically the idea, and your cistern buffs really allow your trade, like your 1 TC to scale so well. So 1 TC cistern rush, um, you can keep on par eco wise with someone going a 2 TC build. Basically up to like 15-20 minutes, right around there, right? So if you go trade you're gonna be ahead of 2 TC plays for the first 15-20 minutes, and then you're going to be kind of suffering because you're just trading too much gold out and you're not getting as much value. But you're Byzantine, so you're getting olive oil, you're getting stone, and you're building cisterns, and these cisterns are now buffing your eco, and your eco is getting 25% extra, and your food. One thing that really hurts as the Byzantines I've noticed is like once this first gold node runs out and it's not under cistern buff, now you're building a cistern. Okay, this cistern might cost you 200 stone, 250 stone, 300 stone. After these first two nodes run out, your next gold node is 100% costing you 300 plus stone if you want to have good income on it. So having your trade line already established, and now your cistern buffs that you have are just going to be basically dedicated to farms, and you're going to transition into mercenary houses besides your regular production that you're going to be able to crank out, that you normally would be able to crank out, as long as you don't overcommit in terms of like traders. 2 markets max, go 3. Like I think like you really don't have to go much more than that, but you can. But it's going to put you in a really strong earlier tempo, as the Byzantines were. They seem to kind of struggle a little bit, and you're going to just kind of naturally progress into castle and imp, and as well as have a really good gold eco behind it. So the timing on it are really nice, and the window compared to other trades is actually a little bit easier to defend because of that buff. The big group of mercenary units that you get, you're dropping a Rax immediately, and you're almost able to keep constant production out of it, or a stable as well. You can get horsemen out, you can go aggro on your opponent, and that's the other aspect of this build that still needs a lot of development, is the mercenary contracts and how they combine with your limitane or your horsemen and against your opponent, right? So I think against knight civs, definitely limitane jab throws is probably the best way to go. But horsemen and longbowmen are really good because the longbowmen are wood units that you aren't normally getting. They're great at defending. That's a really good choice as well. You can look at the Keshiks. Keshiks, I would go preferably with Limitane. Keshiks and Horseman is like a little bit wild, like it's too greedy. But if you do go Keshiks, definitely would go with Limitane, which is also not a bad comp at all, because it forces a little bit. Like what is he going to counter your Keshiks with? He's going to counter it with Spearmen, but your Spearmen and his Spearmen, they're going to duke it out. They're about par. And if he wants to kill your Spearmen, he's going to have to make archers, and that's where your Keshiks are going to start kind of shining. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic. Like we went over earlier, the cistern spread, I like to go into quadrants. It keeps it tighter. It makes expansion a little bit easier. If you get with like a really lucky spawn and your gold is next to it, it's really nice. Sometimes this kind of thing happens, so this transition's a little bit weird until you're up to 3 cisterns, and then you're 100% like covered on everything. The build was the 8-2 opener, 5 on the wood, drop a lumber camp, and then this villager is going to go across, and the next villager is going to rally to wood, because our neutral market is close, and he has to walk a far distance. If the neutral market was over here, and we had to send our villager here, we would have made a villager on the wood first and then send our villager walking. So there's the trade-offs just to try to get that market up as soon as possible and get that villager back and working as soon as possible. Um, from there, we're rallying villagers on the gold. We want to get up to 4 on gold. We do see that our gold starts to ramp up quite quickly. Once you get those first couple of trades in, you can look to pull these villagers off of gold fairly quickly. It's kind of nice to have, just in case, like during fights with your opponent, if they notice on time, which they probably won't, because I don't think anyone's opening with Byzantine trade really right now. Everyone's going fast cisterns, 2 TC rushes, 1 TC aggro all-ins with Hippodrome, or mercenaries. So it's not like most people aren't going with trade right now, and it's actually probably one of the stronger ways to play them right now. The market is up, and this is kind of where I'm still kind of up in the air about what to do. But one thing I would like to note is that I did not get my double broad axe yet, and with my research rate increased plus 50%, this would go from 45 seconds to, like, I don't know, probably like 30 seconds. So this is like a kind of a mistake, because we should have double broad axe already, and we should have better income. And with that better income, you drop your mercenary house a lot sooner. So not getting this first trader out is a little bit of a mistake on this build. Try to get that trader out on time for your... You can almost fit that first trader in before your mercenary camp. So a little bit of a mistake on my part. So, but it kind of happens. First match of the... Even if it's a test match, first match of the day. So, and this test, though I've been testing it, I haven't been playing with it a lot, so I'm still not super comfortable with it. We're just kind of talking about the theories around it, and it's super strong economically. It's very strong economically. It scales super well, and the olive oil and the cisterns behind it it really is just kind of a better version of Mongol trade. The tempo with Mongol trade is obviously a little bit better. There's more units on the field sooner, but it's definitely close to it. And not saying that, like, against Mongols you want to do this as well, right? So just comparatively, right, against other civs, like that players go Mongol trade against other civs, you can kind of do something similar with the Byzantines here, and it's actually pretty strong. You get the Eastern contract going, it goes up very quickly, and this is one mistake. These villagers that are still gathering on sheep needed to be on the berries, and with those villagers on berries, we get this these javelin throwers immediately. And I was wondering why they were so late. Like, it felt so late at 7:30. It's not what's been happening. I haven't been getting these at 7:30, so I was kind of confused. And it's because I left these villagers on sheep. So don't leave these villagers on sheep. Once that winery's up, send them over to the bears. Get that that olive oil income. And we're just kind of naturally going to be getting our T3 systems. We got our T2 systems basically for free from these 2 production buildings. And at this point, it just kind of depends what your opponent is doing. You need to be scouting them and need to see what they're up to. And the army comps, there's a lot to be said, whether it be horsemen and javelin throwers, or horsemen and longbows, or keshiks and the Matane. There's a lot of possibilities. Horseman jab thrower, probably not good. Probably not a good combo. Yeah, probably not a good combo. So the macro's in an okay spot here. It's good to start transitioning villagers from 14, 15 villagers on food and start on wood, and start transitioning villagers onto food here. And once your gold starts stacking up, like we're walling in now at 8 minutes. You can wall in at different points. We have not a huge army, but again, the mercenary house is way late because we messed up our build a little bit here. But the big thing is, like, your gold, your oil per minute is really gonna start getting stable and better, and you're gonna be able to support 2 mercenary houses at 11, 12 minutes. You know, and especially once the cistern gets up to a little bit higher level. Like right now, it's a minute, right, for the return. on this javelin thrower to come out, but once you get like T3, at T4 it just starts getting really good. So you scale increasingly better, and your eco is already ahead of pretty much any civ except for like a 3TC civ play right now. Dropping the second market is also going to help you if you are playing against the second TC. Also, if you are playing against second TC, I almost recommend dropping this sooner, right? You see we're floating a lot of wood, a lot of gold, so there's a lot of flexibility in this build in terms of what you can do with your macro. And grabbing villagers off of gold here, you can start building towers, you can finish walling your side, you can play kind of a defensive beginning, and your opponent's going to be forced to react. So that's pretty much it, guys. I don't want to go too long into this. That's the basic concept. I hope you guys liked it, and yeah, try it out. Let me know how it goes for you, and see you guys next time.